Hi, I'm Debbie Torres. This is Behind the Scenes. On this channel, we talk about tips and tricks that I've learned over the past 25 plus years working for Fortune 500 companies. I talk about the things that you can do, incorporated into what you do on a day-to-day basis in your job and in your regular everyday life that can help supercharge your career. If you're the type of person that's interested in climbing the ladder, doing better for yourself, maybe getting a promotion in the next 2 years, or you're working on trying to figure out how to boost your career up to that ultimate goal that you have set for yourself, these are the things I talk about on this channel. Today is what I would consider probably the number one most important thing that you could do. There are many things you can do, but if somebody were to ask me what is the number one thing I can do to help better myself, better my career, and really just help move me to the next level as quickly as I can, I would say it's to be curious. Always keep yourself open to learn new things. Be curious about them. There are a lot of benefits to being curious, maintaining a perspective that maybe you don't know everything and that you're willing to learn. First, I believe it's a very humble position. And as long as you are in that headspace where you know that you haven't learned everything, then there's really no limit to what you can do and what you can learn. But on top of that, there has been research to prove that people who are curious, they're just generally happier people. They're happier people because they tend to come with a growth mindset. They have better relationships. They have better brain health, better mental health. They get to enjoy stronger relationships. Because they're curious, they end up better developed in the area of empathy and being empathetic toward others. Being curious also helps you become innovative, become a problem solver. And in corporations today, the one thing that's constant is that there are problems to solve. So the more curious you can be, the better of a resource you could be, but also the happier you will be as a person. So it's kind of a win-win-win situation. One thing I would say about being curious is that it does not present itself the same way in every person. I used to believe that I was a person who wasn't necessarily curious because I'm the person that when I get into a new car or I buy a new car, I'm not really interested in pushing all the buttons. I don't understand what they do, but I also don't care to push them to figure out what they do. And I thought that because that was my tendency, that I'm not a curious person, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What that just means is that my version of curiosity doesn't look like I want to push buttons in a car. What it does look like is that I take time to look at my own life and examine myself and figure out what is it that I feel I need to learn to really supplement my knowledge in a given area. And then once I understand and can pinpoint that, then I go after that information and I start absorbing it. You hear of people talking about going down the rabbit hole of information. That's being curious. And that's really what you need to do if you were somebody that wants to fast track your career to the next level. For people just starting out young in their career, I would say learn your industry, spend the time to learn the practical stuff that your college education didn't teach you. If you don't have a college education, that's fine. But learn the ins and outs of that business that you're working for and figure out where you can start solving problems for that business, where you can lend the most benefit for them having you there. Because we all are hired to do a specific role, and some roles are specific to solve a problem, but many aren't. Many are you're hired to develop a particular product, but you're not necessarily asked to solve problems with the process that you have to follow to develop that product. Yet you see something wrong with it or something that can improve, taking the extra step to be able to solve that problem for the company in turn makes you become more valuable to the company. And it's not just to the company, right? Being able to solve problems in your daily life, it's critical thinking skills. There's no way that it won't benefit you in your daily life, but it most certainly helps you fast track in your career. When I was younger and I was experiencing the frustration of trying to understand how to advance in my career, and I was working with mentors who could not guide me, I found that at least becoming an expert in my field was probably the most beneficial thing I could do. Whenever I went into a new role, I would go into that role with the position, I am here to do a great job and to become the best at what I'm doing. That's not to say I was competitive with other people, but it is to say that I wanted to do the absolute best that I could do. And in having that goal, that meant I needed to learn everything there was to learn about that particular job so that I could do it effectively. That, in and of itself, is that curiosity and that learning state of mind helped me advance from one role to the next. Just for some background, I've been in health tech for the last 26 years now, and I've changed jobs because through promotion, probably every 2.5 to 3 years. So that doesn't come from just simple job hopping. You could probably do that a little bit, and it is recommended to do that if you want to increase your salary. But at some point, your knowledge, if it doesn't keep pace with the level that you're hopping to, you're not going to be successful. If you are not making a concentrated effort to learn the most detail that you can, eventually your career level is going to bypass your knowledge. And there's not going to be anything to propel you further than that level. And one of the most tragic things I've seen in business are people who are promoted to levels far beyond their capability, and then you watch them suffer. You watch them get downsized. You watch them be called poor performers. You watch them get demoted. Or in the worst case scenarios, they stay around, but they mess with team dynamics because there's somebody that's not able to pull their weight. And that's just not fair to the person who is in that role at that level. And it's not fair to the team around them. So it's really, really important that you maintain curiosity and you really just dive in. That curiosity, again, it has a ton of benefits, but the main one being that it can help fast track your career if you're really diligent with taking the time to learn, if you're taking the time to understand that you don't know everything. So that's what I wanted to say today. This is a little bit of some of the stuff that I cover on this channel, just tips and tricks to help you fast track your career and to rock your best life. So thank you for joining me. If you're interested in this, please make a comment below. Let me know what you want to talk about, and I will be posting these videos every now and then, and we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Bye.